In just 2 months, we may be here again for a similar game. It could be a playoff matchup. Tonight, it's the ESPN3 United Soccer League Game of the Week, a major regular season fixture. Charlotte Independence, first in the East, taking on Bethlehem Steel. And with that, we say hello to you for the first time alongside Morgan Conklin, Mike Watts. Glad to have you with us. And these two teams played just a couple short weeks ago, and it was a heavy result in favor of Charlotte, 4-0. If you're going to change that tonight, Bethlehem's template likely includes Siku Kone getting on the board.
And not a bad person to rely on. Leads the team with 7 goals this year. The only thing, he hasn't scored since June 11th. So he's due for a goal, works really hard on both sides of the ball. His pressure is one of his best attributes in defending. He can score goals, but also on the defensive side, Bethlehem likes to pressure the opposing team's defenders high. He's that first line being the center forward.
It's going to be important for him to have a good game because Corey Burke unavailable due to yellow card accumulation. On the other side, great offense in the league, led by a great offensive threat. Enzo Martinez has been fantastic.
And the 2016 MVP finalist for the league is living up to that this year, is tied for the team lead with 12 goals and 5 assists, tied with Jorge Herrera. He is a player that Mike Jeffries said is always looking to make a play. He's really good at floating and finding the little spaces for slip balls, knows how to finish, very strong player.
So we'll see if the brothers Martinez can make an impact. This one of the best front fours in the entire USL. How about we meet starting lineups for this affair? Bethlehem, 22 games into their season, they're playing their 22nd different lineup.
And with the young team, it's not too uncommon, but 22 lineups in 22 games is a little different. You don't always see that. A player to watch in this lineup, Anthony Fontana, one of those young players in the attacking midfield role. I mentioned how Bethlehem likes to step high in pressure. He's the second line, so once the forwards go, he has to have a busy night and be on the Charlotte holding midfielders.
4 stay the same here from a 3-1 win over TFC 2 last time out. For Charlotte, they come off a 3-1 loss and they make 4 changes.
One of which being Joel Johnson is not in the starting lineup, still in the 18. He had some visa issues coming out of Canada, so he's not in the lineup tonight. Dennis Castillo's there, Donnie Smith. Look for them to get forward and provide width. With this narrow formation, also, the front 4 are really going to move and find space and just float.
Charlotte's 12-game unbeaten streak is in the rearview mirror, but 4 consecutive games at home, a chance to pick up crucial points as they look to stay atop the East. This Bethlehem Steel team is even better away from Goodman Stadium than they are at home. Will it continue on? We find out next.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Back in Charlotte, North Carolina, big game in the United Soccer League's Eastern Conference. Bethlehem Steel sets to go on the road to the Charlotte Independence, the #1 team in the Eastern Conference. A gorgeous evening in North Carolina. Here are the Eastern Conference standings. Louisville City 2 points back, 2 games in hand. But when you look at Bethlehem, this is a game where they could move all the way up into 5th, and then you're starting to talk about, can they host a playoff game?
And that's what's so interesting in terms of standings. Really, one win can move you so far. I mean, Charlotte knows that in terms of a longer sense, how much movement they had during their streak. But really, it all starts with that one win, and it really can move you so far up the standings.
Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, while we have a moment in the USL, the front two seemingly had run away from everybody, but Swope Park is caught up, at least to San Antonio, and the playoff race at the bottom of the Western Conference playoff picture is equally interesting in that we're going to see Orange County and Phoenix, who are in 11th, on Friday in another game of the week.
And that's going to be a really good matchup. Orange County opening up their new stadium officially on Friday night. Drogba coming into town. Good game last matchup between those. Not a bad goal by Drogba. That'll be a fun one.
We'll see whether or not that new stadium in Orange County is packed for Didier Drogba's return after that outstanding free kick. Gorgeous evening in Charlotte. So much good news around this franchise right now. A brand new stadium of their own. The Sportsplex at Matthews, a truly permanent home for this Charlotte Independence team. One that's leading the Eastern Conference right now in scoring. And a big reason why, 2 scorers in the top 5. You just saw them, Herrera and Enzo Martinez.
And we spoke with Mike Jeffries this week, and I asked him about those two because I asked him, like, how do they compete with one another? Not in terms of being competitive and one trying to be above the other, but just you have 2 players that game in and game out compete and are leading the team with 12 goals, 5 assists apiece. And he said technically they're more attacking midfielders. They've kind of moved them into the midfield, maybe forward role, and they've just kind of made do with what they have. And their pairing and the way they play together is just above that of other teams right now. They are just so good together. They're on the same page with movements they make, with runs, with passes that are played, and they're just so fun to watch.
An outstanding offensive front 4 for them. Enzo Martinez trying to earn the nod for the MVP. He last year was a finalist and was quite close capturing the honor that eventually won to FC Cincinnati's Sean Okoli. For Bethlehem Steel, this is such a young team. There are several players in the lineup tonight below the age of 20. Some of them just got driver's licenses, and yet they're in playoff position, and they're on the road. They don't want to mess with the mentality, the psyche too much, but it's still a big game for them, and they know that.
Well, and something that plays to their youth is that high-pressure style that they play. I asked Brendan Burke, I said, is it a bit easier because you have such young players who tend to have more energy just because they're younger? And he said, absolutely. That's something that taking youth, they're turning it into a strength in terms of that, and that's their style of play. But he also said he doesn't want to put too much pressure on this team, and they want to win. That's a goal, but he doesn't want a loss to really turn into a snowball effect and really make it hard on these players. So they're playing with freedom. It's one of those games, you lose 4-0, you're going to play the same team on the road. The odds really aren't in your favor if you look at it on paper, but he just wants his team to play with that freedom. He wants them to press high. He wants the effort. And if you have that, you have a really good basis for a good game.
And Brendan Burke said that this Charlotte team, the best he's seen in the Eastern Conference so far this year. Of course, he also said they have not seen Louisville. They'll see them on the weekend. And Tampa Bay Rowdies have not crossed Bethlehem's path yet either. Cody Mizell, a couple of major saves in the first meeting between these two clubs. Tomas Romero, one of those players under the age of 18 years old, who's working his way over towards the net. It's start number 6 for a player at 16 years old who was the youngest goalkeeper in league history to start a game. And for Bethlehem, ready to go at midfield. We'll see whether or not this front group missing Corey Burke tonight will be able to provide a better offensive threat against Charlotte than we saw the last time these two teams met. Underway, Matthews, North Carolina. Bethlehem Steel, Charlotte Independence, our USL game of the week. We spoke with Brendan Burke. He said, we really want Kalungi and the center backs to make the game. We want to pressure those center backs, and in the early going, we're seeing Bethlehem do just that. Duckett.
And something as simple as that is forcing the long ball is what they want to do, especially early on. ideally to not allow Charlotte to find a rhythm and find momentum out of the back, because that's how they like to play. They like to build up out of the back. They like to find their midfielders from there. So if Bethlehem can force them in a way that doesn't allow that, especially early, they've already achieved part of their goal.
Donnie Smith retreating Callum Ross. One of the top 10 passing efficiency teams in the league, Charlotte. There's Donnie Smith on loan from New England Revolution, seeking out Martinez. Down to Derek Jones. Made a contact there as Kone leaning in. Belongs to Kalungi and Charlotte, who over their last 13 games picked up their first loss of that stretch last time out against Ottawa Fury, right before Paul Dalgleish resigned from Ottawa Fury as the head coach and general manager, surprisingly midweek. On a group that had won 8 of 12 prior with 4 draws. Martinez shoved further and further away, finally draws the foul. It's Austin Trusty, one of the great young players in this league.
Mike, we were talking before this game, and you mentioned how Trusty's going to be a big part of this game with Charlotte trying to play those slip-through balls that they like, because he's a player that reads the game very well and is able to step in and win those.
Smith got the service in. Estrada, his target, glides into the corner now. Moar. And belongs to Bethlehem. Dennis Castillo finally back, out since June the 18th, his 8th start of the year. You saw him there a moment ago, 26 in blue. We get a look at Tomas Romero. First team traveling this week. They didn't quite know the goalkeeping situation. Jake McGuire didn't travel to Charlotte for Bethlehem, so the 16-year-old gets the call. Moar, taken by Duckett, the captain for this side. Ball for Estrada, cut out by Raymond. Bounces for Martinez. Enzo Martinez looking back at the referee. There's Mark Pekvik, our ref tonight. It was just a couple games ago. This came all the way back. It was actually a foul third of the way up the field. Duckett put it down, and immediately they turn it over. Hone widening play out at Samuel. Pressure again coming from Bethlehem far up the field. Chambers took it away. Hone's touch lets him down. Enzo Martinez able to complete that clearance.
James Chambers doing exactly what he needed to do, filling that role when Martinez had the ball at his feet. You see Chambers come quickly on his back to not allow Martinez to turn, because that's when he's at his best, when he can get the ball and turn and go.
30 years old, Chambers. He's the guy who really drew the most praise as a leader for what's a very young Bethlehem team.
He's been called the heartbeat of this team in multiple calls that we've had with Brendan Burke, and that just speaks to him.
Ball for Kone. Come to Mizell. Hey fans, stay up to date. The latest USL news and information from around the league is on USL Coast to Coast. Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time on SiriusXM FC, Channel 85. And don't forget, the USL Game of the Week airs on SiriusXM FC. Check USLsoccer.com for the dates and times. Tapped ahead by Marquez Davidson. And a tug from Alex Martinez, who as always offers a spirited defense of himself. Sometimes you don't want to be a lip reader.
Those brothers are so intense, and I love that about the way that they play. But sometimes it's just not needed. It was a foul. I believe Alex Martinez was called for the foul, but the referee's not going to change it at that point.
No, not then. So we'll see what Bethlehem can do following that delay. Ball for Samuel, picked down by Mizell. You know, we've had Charlotte before this year, and those two brothers ride home in the car together at the end of the night. And speaking with Mike Jeffries, he seems to indicate he doesn't quite know how they make it sometimes all the way home with the competitiveness that they have. Alex goes down.
I can only imagine. I mean, family get-togethers, Christmases. You know they do something as a family. I can't even imagine.
Estrada widening out. It's Castillo. Castillo, that's good service. Right to Romero. You and your brother don't have that level of competitiveness to these things, do you?
Pretty close.
Pretty
Not like that, though. But we're definitely competitive.
Attack on for the steal. Moir. Raymond. All the way over the 18-yard box. Martinez retreating. Has his pocket picked by Jones. And a header as Moir streaking towards the top of the 18-yard box looking for that cutback.
I don't know if Callum Ross saw that ball exactly coming across, but that block that happened was smart because Moir was coming across the top of the box. Bethlehem is following their game plan. This high pressure is giving them chances off the turnover. They're close to goal. They've been in dangerous situations. They have the runners. So if they continue this, they are knocking on the door for a goal because this pressure is really causing Charlotte some trouble.
They go short, and there's the service for Kone. Drops down in the 18. Slid out. And the run out for Charlotte breaks down. There was contact further back, and it belongs to Charlotte.
That foul almost wasn't caused, and I'm not saying you want to go in and commit a foul, but at that moment, with those two players running, the Charlotte player is coming out, Bethlehem's coming forward. The Bethlehem player either needs to win that ball or definitely foul the player. It can't be one of those where it's a late call, because if that's missed and Charlotte isn't taken down with a professional foul, he's off to the races. Bethlehem is out of sorts. They're not organized. Granted, it's a far way to go towards goal, but Charlotte has players higher up the field. So that's a spot where either it's a phrase, you get man or you get ball. There has to be one or the other. You can't miss both.
And last time, only man, no ball. Belongs to the Independents. 10th minute. First in the Eastern Conference. They've gone from 14th to the top of the standings over the course of the last 2 months, and in that time, opening up a new home in Matthews, North Carolina, which itself has seen a championship awarded with the Charlotte Eagles in the PDL just earlier this month.
It was cool talking with Mike Jeffries about that night. Charlotte goes on to beat Louisville. Obviously, it didn't end exactly how they wanted, with Enzo Martinez getting his second yellow by celebrating a hat trick. But we asked him, you know, what did that night mean for Charlotte soccer? And he was just saying how it was such a huge moment for the city as a whole, and it was just really special to be a part of.
The Eagles, formerly in the USL, picking up a PDL title in their third season in the Premier Developmental League. Out for a corner off Kalungi. 18th start for the Ugandan international. Aaron Jones places it down. Kone is in the middle of the 6. He's an option. Jones. Samuels put his foot up. Block off the foot of Roberts. Now the follow-up by Fontana. Ricochets out to midfield. There's Fontana, 17-year-old out of Delaware. Gets it through Moar. Moar! It's a good save by Mizell. And Ross lofts it out. Only got to Chambers. Off of Kone, and Mizell has it now.
That's a fantastic save by Mizell off that quick shot from Moar. He found the ball at his feet, just got a little bit of separation, brought it central and got the shot off. The second ball that didn't come off, Bethlehem was just a little unorganized from that initial shot, wasn't exactly ready for the rebound. Chambers gets the ball, hits his own player. I think by having that high press, and then also when you build up and attack, sometimes it causes not being organized because you have players that are working hard in both directions, so sometimes those lines get mixed up a little bit. But Chambers was in a great position for that shot. We've seen him score from far out this year.
Smith kicks that out, and thinking about that save right there, yes, it's only 11 and a half minutes into the game. When we spoke with Brendan Burke and he reflected on that 4-0 loss, he said there were key inflection points in the game where Mizell made big saves that changed the dynamic. Maybe that's one of those here as Kone is the guilty party this time. Alex Martinez arguing with the official on the far side touchline.
That's a hard foul on Donnie Smith. You see Kone just going for the ball, Smith trying to clear it out, but that's part of that high pressure from Bethlehem. They're not going to allow a center back and outside back to have an easy ball out. That's just the way they're playing the style of play. They're trying to put pressure on that back line.
This case results in a foul nearly a quarter of an hour in. Enzo Martinez away from Chambers. Two butting horns again. Estrada. Davidson on the ground, and Enzo Martinez comes up a bit lame. Kalungi stepped forward. That's a well-timed challenge by Herrera. The 36-year-old got it further ahead for Estrada. Yellow card coming as Herrera throws his arms out.
Herrera's first touch isn't the cleanest, and he's a player that normally can keep hold of that, and if his first touch was cleaner, that whole tackle is avoided because he can have an initial clean touch turn and then go at the back line and doesn't have to worry about chasing the ball down and then another defender coming in for that tackle.
Yellow card to James Chambers, his third yellow card of the season. Scored the game winner on a penalty against TFC2 late in that affair. Brendan Burke looking on. Up the line for Castillo. Ross. It's Martinez. Ball sent across. Popped up by Romero's nearest defender, Trusty. Hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. It's Jones. off the head of Duckett. It's Moar. Moar swerves in service toward the back post. Fontana couldn't lift it back into play.
That's a beautiful ball, how it slips right over Kalungi's back shoulder with the runner coming forward, Fontana. That's a really nice ball, and it's one of those that has to be hit perfectly because if it's hit too short, Kalungi can step in easily and win that and clear it. Or if it's hit too far, it runs out of bounds. Obviously, Fontana wasn't able to fully get a touch on that, but the way that it just slipped past Kalungi is exactly where you want that ball to go.
16.5 minutes in, we spoke to Brendan Burke about what he was trying to do. Do you feel like the Steel have implemented their game plan to this point?
Absolutely. They wanted to press high. They wanted to force mistakes. They didn't want to allow Charlotte to build out of the back, and they've done just that. They've stepped high on the back line. And then I was saying how important it is in the open for Fontana and the midfielders to step higher on the Charlotte midfielders. They've done that as well. Charlotte has very rarely found the ball with space in the midfield and been able to turn with time.
Negative pass for Ross. Callum Ross now, man out of Wingate. Davidson, one of 5 players in this lineup who did not feature in their most recent game. Martinez. Alex Martinez sends it up for Herrera. Romero is there.
I think one of the most impressive things for Charlotte right now also is even though Bethlehem is disrupting a bit of their normal play with building out of the back, Charlotte isn't changing how they play. They're still trying to build. They're finding that space when they can. Normally when Bethlehem's disjointed a bit, then they're finding the gaps in the seams. They want width from their players. They know they'll get movement from both Martinez brothers and Herrera. So they're playing the way that they want to, even though it's not as simple as it has been in some other games.
Moar met by Ross and continues on. Moar's had a strong start to the match. Samuel the target. Contact from behind by Donnie Smith. Mizell starts it up the other way. That service from Moar teasing again. Kone takes it away from Martinez. Kone on the turn now. A drop pass for Chambers. Samuel. It's Jones. Now Aaron Jones. Chambers. Chambers turns and pulls the trigger. Sent it wide of the post. Second time he's tried from beyond the 18-yard box.
And Charlotte knows that now, so don't give him space. He's missed 2, but that doesn't mean he'll miss the 3rd. They have to step higher. Charlotte did a good job getting numbers behind the ball, but nobody even put a little bit of pressure. They gave Chambers way too much time there. He was looking to pass. He didn't want to shoot originally. Charlotte did a nice job of blocking the pass, but once you do that, somebody has to step out to him.
A lot of space out here. Smith airmails the cross. Can Estrada catch up? Contact with Raymond. Throw awarded to Bethlehem. Raymond, who's appearing for just the 6th time and the 4th time in the starting 11 for Bethlehem on the year. Estrada. Enzo Martinez off of Estrada and a goal kick. The USL, one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world. It features some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date, all the latest league news and information by visiting uslsoccer.com and follow them on Twitter at USL. Coverage of last night's U.S. Open Cup defeat for FC Cincinnati. They were up 2-0 with 20 minutes to play against New York Red Bulls. And of course, they have to go play New York Red Bulls 2 on the road on Saturday, which will be unique. 35,000 at Nippert Stadium for that game. It's just another those numbers don't go on the overall docket for the USL's attendance record, but pretty good. As Jones pushing ahead. Contact from Duckett sends him away from goal. Siku Kone trying to move central. Bouncing, Jones. Jones
felt that pressure coming. That's when he's going to went back and try to go to that far post. If he had just a split second more, he would have been able to find that post. But that pressure from behind from Charlotte was really good. This high pressure from Bethlehem is so good, and you know it's good because you're pressuring the back line. They can't play through, but center backs are winning the balls that Charlotte's trying to clear because they are able to move high up the field.
Everybody backing away from Enzo Martinez. Let it rip off the defender. Roberts that time, the deflection. Going over both Roberts and Trusty this time. While Karam's behind Trusty, who's on the ball now. Played in the U20 World Cup for the United States earlier this year. Smith met by Samuel. Dishes to Ross. Martinez. We asked Mike Jeffries coming into this game whether or not being in first changed the dynamic for his team, whether it be preparing or what they expect to see from opposition. He seemed to indicate that they've gotten a little more out of teams than they had perhaps anticipated. As Estrada galloping ahead, on-rushing Martinez slides in. Roberts is there. Almost came out of nothing. Enzo Martinez charging out of the midfield like that.
I mean, that's just what he does. He makes plays. And it was a great ball in from Estrada. Those little slip balls, splitting defenders, splitting an outside back and a center back, or just finding that space are so dangerous. And it's the texture that's put on it because that's close to goal. And that's another one that if it has too much on it is going to run right to the goalkeeper. Or if it's too short, a defender's going to step in. So those look so easy, but they're so much more difficult. And so there's multiple Charlotte players who can play that and who have that vision. And Enzo Martinez tends to play him or definitely be on the end of it with his runs.
I'm not sure there's many teams that we've seen so far in the ESPN3 Game of the Week that can say they have multiple players who can consistently play those balls at that level that often.
And it's incredible because it's first the vision to see it. Second, it's having a different player that can make the run. And third, it's the perfect ball, or the texture, as I like to say, on the ball. So it's more than just one person playing a great pass. There's multiple factors that come into it, which make it that much more impressive.
They'll try and unlock the left-hand side again here. Herrera overran it. Roberts won the ball for Bethlehem Steel. 25 minutes gone. Bethlehem in the playoff picture right now, going toe-to-toe with the Charlotte Independence team. First, USL's Eastern Conference and the #1 scoring team in the league. Off of Jones, a handball.
Right there you see Bethlehem choosing to not go with the high pressure. Their line of confrontation is a little bit off the center line, but they're forcing the center backs of Charlotte to be the playmakers. And normally in that area of the field, you want your midfielders or central midfielders to be on the ball. But by Bethlehem dropping off and trying to cut off the open passing lanes, they're forcing the Charlotte center backs to become those playmakers. which they have the ability to do, but normally you want your center midfielders on the ball there.
Being a Davidson or maybe even a Callum Ross. No Lewis Hilton tonight, who did score twice against Bethlehem in that 4-0 Charlotte win a couple of weeks ago. A calmness from Tomas Romero. It's Castillo. Fans, stay up to date. The latest USL news and information from around the league is on USL Coast to Coast on SiriusXM Channel 85. It's Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget, SiriusXM FC airs the USL Game of the Week. Check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. Should have updated that. It's Games of the Week this week. This being the first. Phoenix and Orange County coming up on Friday night as Enzo Martinez taps back out. Donnie Smith. Smith on the ground. We'll get a second look at this. Callum Ross had his arms extended looking for the ball. He backs away.
And you could tell Ross didn't pick his head up there because he played it right to Robert's feet. When Ross has his hands in there, runners were more off the penalty mark. You could tell he just didn't pick his head up to take a look, which is fine to do, to really try to whip that ball across. But every now and then you have to look because there's other options as well.
Smith. I'll allow this out. Team without Corey Burke available tonight. Siku Kone expected to give a lengthy performance this evening. Well, Duckett over to check on him. Kone has missed a couple games due to injury this year. Did score against Charlotte, one of his 2 goals in 2016. Has been one of the great scorers in the league so far this year with Bethlehem when he's been able to stay on the field. You know, when we spoke with Brendan Burke, he said he accepted the challenge along with Corey Burke. There was going to be competition for that forward position. Both have responded. Both have scored significant goals for the team. And now with Burke out to yellow card suspension, it's going to be Kone who's going to be Mike Jeffrey's problem tonight. Did you ever deal with direct competition? In the college game, players can move in and out a lot more freely. Even with within a game, there can be competition for who gets the last opportunity or who plays at the start or out of halftime. I assume that's not just unique to the college game, though.
I mean, it's just across the board. It's one of those things, once you get to a high level, if you don't do your job, someone's there to take it. It's always a battle in training, in games, trying to perform. It's one of those things. Some coaches, though, stick with their guys and they won't change the lineup in case it's really needed. Or there's other coaches that, you know, if you don't play a good game, guess what? Someone else is waiting for that spot. So it just kind of depends on the coach, but there's no doubt there's definitely competition and trying to make your team better and trying to get an opportunity.
Herrera. So Martinez. It's Castillo. Castillo cutting it across. Castillo. Enzo Martinez on the ball, shooting. Romero pulls it in. That buildup could have made something special there.
That touch from Estrada. And then for Martinez to have the ball at his feet and really no run up to the ball, just hit it straight up and keep it straight. was able to just get it past his defenders. That's what makes Charlotte so dangerous. That was off of a throw-in.
And Estrada again. Estrada! It's Enzo Martinez. There's Estrada touching it wide. Martinez. Really simply, Charlotte's just a lot of fun to watch right now.
Just the movement on and off the ball. I mean, not even talking about your players that just jump off the field and do something special, but the movement of players and the way they pass the ball around is just pretty.
Alex Martinez putting a head to it. Charlotte at home, holding the ball more. Right now, you'd say Bethlehem has the best opportunity of the game. A great save by Mizell, the opening 20 minutes. Estrada brings it down again. Castillo tucking inside. There he is, Castillo sending it back. Enzo Martinez blocked by Chambers. Martinez, and that to carry him wide and out. Smith for Herrera, falls, Martinez shooting, he scored! Number 13 for Enzo Martinez. It's a 1-0 lead for Charlotte.
Charlotte is a team that will find a way to put the ball away if it is not cleared. They stayed with this play. Donnie Smith with a nice run, swinging it back across. Herrera goes up for the header, and it falls to Martinez's feet, brings it down with the first touch, and finds that far post. Bethlehem had chances to clear this ball. They couldn't get it out past Charlotte. Martinez gets on the end of it. A beautiful finish. He always finds a way.
Just another highlight reel moment at the Sportsplex for Enzo Martinez.
I mean, as if he doesn't have enough. He always finds a way. It's amazing. You see the work that he puts in. You see how he moves off the ball, how he creates, the passion he plays with. So it's not surprising how he always finds a way to get it done, because he's a player that just gives his all. You can see it on his face.
Not to pat you on the back too hard, but for an analyst in pregame to highlight certain players, you're trying to find the most significant players in a matchup, and once again, Morgan Conklin picks a goal scorer.
Well, it's not hard for when you're going with Charlotte. Who's going to be probably two of their top attacking players, maybe the two leading goal scorers. So don't give me too much credit on that one. But I'll take it if you want to give it.
Right. I don't know why you're turning it away. Siku Kone and Bilal Duckett go down. Duckett holding an upper extremity there. So many talented center backs for this Charlotte team. Bilal Duckett down now, the captain of this side. 28-year-old out of Georgia. Kone, the man who was fouled, but he's really the one who's okay. It was interesting. He said, you have to ruin somebody's day somehow. Mike Jeffries speaking about the center back, and Luke Wechter, a rookie who came in due to early injuries, has stood out. And even Shanti Fairclough hasn't gotten the chance to play because of how good the center backs have been, but they have two guys who really can make this whole thing work.
And Mike, it's kind of similar to what you were talking about with Bethlehem, with Corey Burke and Sekou Kone. It's players that make decisions difficult for coaches. With Charlotte, it's a little bit different because you don't really change your back line that often if you don't have to, especially those center back pairings, because you want it to become a pairing. You want those players to have chemistry. And he's just saying it's difficult to break in there when you have two players that are playing so well together.
Back to his feet. Bilal Duckett, the third-round draft pick out of Vancouver, who played at Notre Dame. Center back for this team, played right back for the Fighting Irish. Another in a long line of fullbacks out of Notre Dame. Justin Morrow standing out, the U.S. international playing for Toronto. So he'll come off, and Charlotte's down a center back on this impending set piece. Aaron Jones headed down right to Woody Mizell. Mizell, another save. Must be those nice Nike cleats. Hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Enzo a tug there. He's always looking for that little extra, that extra step. Samuel. It's Moar. Jones. Skipping past Chambers. Captain on the ball again. Charlie Raymond. Moar got past the first line of defense and sends the ball right to the goalkeeper.
Moar's done that a couple times. He gets the ball wide, going to his left, and then cuts it central to get the ball on his right foot, looking for that shot with his right foot. If he can continue to get the ball closer to goal and cut that, a little too far out on that last one, if he can find his way into the box on the left, cut it to his right, he'll have a better angle and obviously be closer to goal. And also will have the ability to either shoot it like he has been or play make from there. Slip a ball in, play it back across the face of goal, swing it back out. Normally he has James Chambers there. So if he's causing a lot of problems up that left side by cutting it to his right foot and bringing it central because he has the whole field to work with and his body's open.
Moar playing on this left wing, a guy who played with the Charlotte Eagles just last year, so this is pretty close. That's pseudo home for him. All played up by Estrada. He's on it again. Smith retreating. Davidson. Callum Ross now. Again, widening play out. It's Castillo. Martinez on one touch. Kept in by Castillo. Enzo Martinez, a goal already in the matchup. Alex Martinez clipped it off his left boot. Bounces to Trusty. Trying to go long for Kone. Lal Duckett back into the game after a previous injury, tracking that down.
And a nice job from Duckett to pull Kone. Kone put high pressure on Duckett there, but he was able to play out. And it allowed for space for the Charlotte team to work with because they had pulled Sekou Kone out of his more central position and then were able to find the other side.
Ball for Estrada too far. From the Sportsplex at Matthews with Morgan Conklin, Mike Watts on USL Game of the Week. Charlotte a 1-0 lead. That bouncing off of Alex Martinez. You think back to that second yellow for Enzo Martinez against Louisville a couple weekends ago. It was for standing in front of a free kick as the ball was being sent away. And then he was sent off for going and celebrating in the stands after scoring a hat trick, Enzo.
Mike Jeffries on that one said sometimes even he knew the rules, knows the rule book, and sometimes you might have to look the other way.
He just sounded flabbergasted is the word that was thrown around, how that all worked out. Put a marginal damper on what otherwise was a rather celebratory occasion. Ahead by Enzo Martinez. Estrada has it clipped away from him. Samuel. Chambers. Jones. Raymond too far for Santi Moar. Alex Martinez charging ahead. Donnie Smith has been given this space time and time again. This time Martinez retakes possession. Martinez, Castillo.
I'm surprised at the space that Charlotte has been given on the wings, because when we spoke with Brendan Burke, one of the things Bethlehem wanted to do was squeeze the field, not just front to back, but side to side. He said if the ball goes wide, he wants a player stepping out and then the support in behind. And I haven't seen that as much as I thought I would.
Samuel trying to go quickly the other way. Ball won by Kalungi. And this is a big field in Charlotte. I mean, you can see it on your screen. It's enormous.
And that might be part to it. He did want them to stay compact, but when the ball went wide, he wanted a player to step and then have the support in behind. So the width of the field definitely could play into that.
Martinez off a trusty. Corner for the Independents. There's your goal scorer, 33rd minute. Goal number 13 of the year. Just 3 away from equaling and who led the league last year, Sean Okoli, and 2 away from the current league leaders, Romario Williams and Dane Kelly. It's like a third of the season left, and we're talking about guys who are already on the precipice of jumping what Sean Okoli did in that incredible season for FC Cincinnati last year. Corner comes to Alex Martinez. Winds in service, backing away. Derek Jones. Kone. Enzo Martinez getting around Jones with ease. Enzo Martinez trying to make a run in behind. Kept by Donnie Smith. Save made by the ball kid. It's a goal kick.
Bethlehem looks extremely tired right now. When that original free kick was played by Martinez, nobody really stepped over, and then it's a clearance. No one steps to Smith. Obviously, he's coming forward through the ball. No one steps to him hard at all, even tries to get in the way of that. With his momentum, the way he's coming forward, he's going to shoot that. He's going to try to get a look on for him, and no one really stepped to him or even put hard pressure. And it all goes back to that foul on Martinez, how he just played a short ball in easily as if no one was around him.
The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues on the planet, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date. All the latest league news and information is on USLsoccer.com. Follow them on Twitter at USL. Surely you can already see Enzo Martinez's 33rd minute goal there. Castillo lobbing in, Enzo Martinez finding Alex. Martinez shoved over.
I think that's a call there where Trusty is called because he's a bigger body. Shoulder to shoulder, you see him going in using his body, but at that moment he's bigger than Alex Martinez, so it looks more like a foul rather than if there were 2 guys the same size going at it.
The 7-inch height difference isn't small. Enzo Martinez. Ross, Smith, There's Smith again, working on Samuel. Service for Alex Martinez, a header across the face of goal that bounds wide. We haven't seen a lot of that service from the wing really hit. Alex Martinez screaming for a deflection.
And that was much better pressure, too, from Bethlehem. It wasn't tight, hard pressure, but it was enough to force Charlotte to play it maybe before they wanted to. But Martinez had too much time in the box. He was just waiting for that ball. Josef Samuel does a good enough job to try to get there. Martinez is just on the far post, wide open. Tries to bring the ball back across the face of the goal to go for that far post on the other side. But he was just way too open.
Popped up off the back of Enzo Martinez. Even with a lead at times, Charlotte's frustration be a little more evident than it needs to be. Kone, could there be an equalizer before halftime? If Mizell has anything to say about it. It's Duckett. Lined over the defense. Alex Martinez twisting down. Dispossessed Trusty, and it's a goal kick. The final half minute of first half stoppage time. Coming up at halftime, a look around the league. The upcoming schedules for these two teams as both look forward to what could be crucial stretches of their season, and first half stats and highlights. Romero, there's halftime. Bethlehem, in your opinion earlier, was getting their game plan executed, and yet it's Charlotte who comes away with a 1-0 lead.
Well, and I think that's the danger of a team like Charlotte. They have the ability to put a goal away, even if Bethlehem, for the most part, executes their game plan. So halftime, it's a moment for Bethlehem to regroup. They need to come back out with that high pressure. They need to force Charlotte to play where they want them to play. This game's not over. They have some firepower on the bench. It's going to be a good second half.
We'll show you that man's highlight. Enzo Martinez, the goal scorer. Charlotte 1, Bethlehem 0 at the half. Halftime in Matthews, Charlotte a 1-0 lead over Bethlehem Steel. Two playoff teams currently in the Eastern Conference playoff picture. Mike Watts, Morgan Conklin back with you. Here's a look at our halftime statistics from this affair, Morgan, and what stands out to you.
Well, both have the same shots on target. I'm not surprised by that at this point. Obviously, Charlotte has more of the possession, but this stat isn't up there. Looking at Opta, Charlotte is passing at a 91% accuracy rate. They're outpassing Bethlehem by over 100. So that just proves how they try to move the ball around, how they try to build up. But that's not Bethlehem's game, especially tonight. They're trying to go with the high press, trying to force the turnovers, and it's worked for them. 8 shots, 3 on target. They need to keep that up. I said it right before break. Halftime is a regrouping moment for them. They need to come out. They have the youth. They have the energy to come out and press again.
Well, this game is on ESPN3. It's our United Soccer League game of the week. But we're having so much fun. We're going to do it again on Friday. And who better to open up the new stadium in Orange County than one Didier Drogba? Oh, you thought I was talking about us. No, Drogba on Friday. Big game for both sides.
I mean, Orange County, like you said, opening up the new park. It's beautiful there. And Drogba, the rematch. The first game ended in a tie. There's a lot to play for there, and I'm excited for that one.
We're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to having you along with us. Meanwhile, here in Charlotte right now, you're stuck with us for another 45 minutes. Independents have the lead. Enzo Martinez just after the half-hour mark. We'll show you how it happened when we return. You're watching the USL Game of the Week on ESPN3.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
James Outland and Morgan Copes from the leadership of Birmingham, Alabama's 2019 USL expansion side recently visited the league offices. Announced as the first expansion team for 2019, Outland and Copes share in the excitement as the club begins to work towards its inaugural season.
Well, first and foremost, I think we're going to have a great product. We're going to have a professional environment. We're going to have a competitive team, and not just competitive, we want to win. So I think the competition and the level of play on the field is going to be top-notch, and I think the experience at the stadium and for the fans is going to be equally impressive.
What excites me about being in the USL in 2019 is it's a dream come true. I mean, this is something that, you know, there's a group of guys and individuals who have put a lot of time, a lot of blood, sweat, tears, you know, everything that you can think of from a grassroots perspective, startup, you know, to see it come to fruition, you know, when this whole thing really kind of started from, you know, just a couple beers at a local brewery. This whole idea, to see it come to fruition, it's going to be incredible.
What excites us about joining the USL is, first, Birmingham needs a professional sports team. And we think soccer is the ideal sport for Birmingham. It's a great growing sport across the country. And as importantly, the USL has really been a successful league. They've done a phenomenal job. We've done our research. We've been working on this for over 2 years now. And we really chose the USL because we think it's the best league and one of the best sports in the world. And we think Birmingham is primed to become a great professional soccer town.
It's going to be a fun, fast, exciting atmosphere. I mean, the game of soccer itself is always, you know, very exciting, you know, to watch live, just because of the speed of play, the physicality, the toughness that goes into it. But, you know, I also think we're going to have a great, fun family atmosphere.
Well, it's been a great opportunity to come and get better familiarized with the people behind the league and get to meet the folks that we work with on a weekly and ongoing basis, and really get our ducks in a row and be ready to launch for our 2019 beginning of the season.
The wealth of knowledge, the information, and just the organization around the entire organization itself is incredible. The professionalism is second to none. And, you know, I'm excited about getting to meet the people and put faces to names. There's an old quote, you know, nobody cares what you know until they know you care. So I really look forward to establishing those relationships with league officers and just the people in and around here.
For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
One of the great stories in the league this year, Charlotte Independence first in the East, but right behind them, 2 points back and 2 games in hand, Louisville City FC. Nearly 14,000 fans at Slugger Field for a 5-0 win over Cincinnati on the weekend. Congratulations. Back with highlights in a moment. I have a box. Oh, on camera. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Okay. I'm going to take you down. No, not yet. Little things, right? First game I ever did on TV. It's like 110. I undid my tie and brought it down, and they went to me on camera right after the game, and nope, hanging. My mom was so disappointed. Crowd score. Straight to highlights. Do we have a comment from you? We're going to do it. See how it goes. If they start the highlights. To the left, to the left. Sportsplex at Matthews players re-entering the field. Independence a 1-0 lead over Bethlehem Steel as we welcome you back into the booth alongside Morgan Conklin, Mike Watson. In this first half, we saw Bethlehem do a lot of what they wanted to do, but like much of that 12-game unbeaten streak for Charlotte, they still have the lead.
And it just came down to not executing when they needed to clear the ball, which led to that final goal. But they were good for the most part, knew what they wanted to do from the beginning of the game, and definitely established that as the game went on. We're able to get forward. This ball was so dangerous so many times. Santi Moar finding the ball on his left foot, going up the left side, bringing it back across to his right to face the center of the field. That was one of the few opportunities that James Chambers had from far out.
Chambers again here. He would pick up a yellow card in this first half, trying for goal there, and Cody Mizell ends up not being tested. Donnie Smith getting wide. We saw a lot of wide play in this first half from Charlotte.
And that's something that they wanted to. They wanted to find that wide play. This led to the goal from Enzo Martinez. A nice ball in from Smith. You see Herrera go up for the initial ball that came through. Martinez is just waiting for it. He gets the first touch down to his feet. All he needs is a quick touch. Pressure doesn't come quick enough because he's on that far post. That's why you need a far post runner. There was another player even behind him. He brought his touchdown, was able to finish.
One of the top 5 goal scorers in the league now. That's number 13. Here's Donnie Smith, nearly.
And once again, the pressure not good enough from Bethlehem. Not tight enough, not hard enough. And they're just able to get a look on frame. Once again, Donnie Smith found his way wide. They wanted to look for the width, and he was really dangerous. Once again, though, the back post ball, the cross from him that goes all the way across the face of the goal, and Alex Martinez is waiting for it. The pressure from Bethlehem needs to be better, and they need to know where that far post player is.
Enzo Martinez walking off with the lone goal of this opening half for Charlotte Independence. Here's what's coming up next. And when we spoke with Brendan Burke, he said the best team we've seen so far in the league is Charlotte, but we haven't seen Louisville yet. They're going to see him next at home at Goodman Stadium.
And they'll see him twice within a month. So if you haven't seen him yet, this is a nice time to do it, to see him twice within a month, home and then going there, definitely a test coming up for them. But if they can get a result tonight on the road in Charlotte, that's a big confidence booster before they host Louisville.
All these teams in or around the playoff picture right now. On the other side for Charlotte Independence, home sweet home. 3 more home games. They finished with 7 of their last 10 at home. We spoke with Mike Jeffries. He said, if you say 10 games left, we're in first and 7 are at home, we would have taken that.
Exactly. Not a bad way to finish out the regular season. But that being said, just because it's home doesn't mean it's an automatic win. There's a lot of work to do. Playing against some of these teams coming in, it's easier than some who have more of a road schedule, but at the end of the day, it's not an easy schedule to close out the season.
Meanwhile, we look at games on our ESPN3 Game of the Week schedule, and it'll start on Friday night as Phoenix will take on Orange County at their brand new stadium. It's August 18th, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, then Louisville City and Harrisburg City next week. And then September, Phoenix, Orange County again. So we'll get another look at that rivalry. These are all teams in or around the playoffs, and it's going to make for a thrilling finish to the slate.
And it's always interesting because midweek games tend to be a little different than weekend games, just in terms of the quick turnover. But on the slate, they look great, and you know it may be an opportunity for other players to get in. But at the end of the day, these are all top teams, and they're all, like you said, playoff caliber teams. It makes it that much more fun, and playing midweek is something special because you don't get that many of them. And
that's one of the first times we'll see the City Islanders in our Game of the Week schedule. Here's the current Eastern Conference playoff picture. Charlotte is atop the East, but if they don't pick up a win tonight, you look at Louisville City, they could conceivably take on this Bethlehem side at Goodman Stadium with a chance to move into first on the weekend.
And they were looking good the other night, a sellout crowd. Nice result against a very good FC Cincinnati team. They can get a result.
And of course, Cincinnati and New York Red Bulls too, they're playing each other this weekend. Is there going to be bad blood? We'll find out at Montclair State on Saturday. Here's the Western Conference, and Real Monarchs, as usual, atop the standings. No surprise there. Oklahoma City Energy playing an important game on Saturday against San Antonio, 2-8. And you're starting to see teams pull apart near the playoff line. Colorado Springs and Tulsa rising away from Orange County, OKC, Seattle, and Phoenix.
And that's what's so interesting. I always mention it, but just one win can do so much. It can build confidence, move you higher in the standings. But I have to admit, I've been so impressed with Real Monarchs. You saw them starting to separate themselves early in the season, continuing to do so, moving further away from San Antonio. It's been impressive.
So Real Monarchs continuing what's been a really impressive run in the Western Conference. There's a gorgeous sight in Charlotte. We continue cycling through the USL power rankings. Well, no surprise, Real Monarchs first, but a 5-0 win can do wonders for you for Louisville City FC. They move into second, and when you look at the top 10 here, is there anybody who can't make a run toward a championship? That's the whole point. The parity right now is bonkers.
I mean, that's one thing I love about playoffs because it really is a different season almost. You have the regular season, and then when you get to playoffs, once you make it there, it's pretty much gone at that point, and it's just who can put games together, who can make a run. And it's exciting as we head towards that part of the season.
We're just a couple months away from the playoff stretch starting. Mid-October is when the regular season finally comes to a conclusion. It's an 8-month march towards the playoffs. Enzo Martinez has returned. Number 1 in the Eastern Conference right now, his Charlotte Independence. He's a top 5 goal scorer in this league. On to the second half. Does Bethlehem have what it takes to turn this tide around? Will Charlotte get back to their winning ways after a disappointing loss against Ottawa last time out? On to the second half in our USL Game of the Week. No changes at halftime for either side. Ball unimpeded. Needs to a throw for Dennis Castillo. Bethlehem in their comfort zone on the road. 5 wins, 4 losses away from Goodman Stadium. They seem to have a remarkable knack for winning games away from the Lehigh Valley. The affiliate of the Philadelphia Union. This Bethlehem Steel team has made quite the turn in a short amount of time. Get the feeling that they don't want to talk about being ahead of schedule necessarily, and yet it's hard not to feel like that's what they've done with such a young roster, so much changeover from game to game. Had a fantastic season already with 10 wins, sitting in 7th in the East. Back pass that has Mizell sprinting toward the end line, and he's claiming a throw. It looks like a corner instead for Bethlehem. It's Aaron Jones, 23-year-old Englishman, comes by way of Ipswich Town. Jones nodded out, and Enzo Martinez tackled on his way upfield by Anthony Fontana. Alex Martinez putting some moves on there.
He just took the ball. He just took the ball from Jones from between his feet.
Kellum Ross tracks that down. There's just a level of technicality to this Charlotte team that leaves you in awe sometimes when you watch them, as we see it again there. Driving through the legs, Estrada. It's Fontana. Chambers got it wide. Fontana dishing again. Moar.
Fontana's been really good tonight. For a 17-year-old to step into that attacking midfield role against such a strong team in Charlotte with such a strong midfield, he's done a great job, especially in terms of the defensive pressure that they've asked him to provide. When he's on the ball, he's been able to create, but he has a really important role defensively, and he's done a really good job for Bethlehem. Not always things that you may notice right from watching the game, but if you pay attention to his movement and the way he attacks the ball, or the way he decides to step to it by cutting off something else, or the way he is with when he's on the ball, he's been really good tonight.
You know, when you think about Fontana, I can't help but think about what Brendan Burke told us during the week. The former PDL coach for Reading United. He coached in the college game for a while as well. Enzo Martinez turned away by Raymond. He wants them to play free and energetic, and he wants to just let them loose. And Fontana received those orders going into this game, very much so. Castillo sliding over the corner flag.
But at the same time with all of that, he has a certain role he has to play tonight. And he has to be able to provide that pressure, and he has to be that second line of defense. Because if he gets beat, it puts the holding midfielders and the defense in a tough spot. So he has a very important role, and he's been able to fill it.
New stadium, they may need a new corner flag. Chambers and Castillo here.
And that hurts, just the way Castillo rolled over that corner flag. There's a stake in the bottom of it, so once you roll over that, it doesn't feel too good. Not the most comfortable thing.
No, but he'll continue on. Hey fans, stay up to date. The latest USL news and information from around the league is on USL Coast to Coast. Comes your way Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. USL Game of the Week airs on XMFC. Check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. It's Aaron Jones. Jones got around Martinez, sends the service for the back post, popped up for Mizell.
I like seeing an outside back at forward for Bethlehem. We haven't seen that because it forces Alex Martinez to drop and defend. Alex Martinez doesn't want to defend. He wants to attack. He wants to go forward. So by Jones getting forward and getting the ball wide and taking on Martinez 1v1, it puts Martinez in a place he doesn't want to be, and it pulls an attacker out for Charlotte.
Ball for Samuel. Smith able to knock it back. We've really only seen him get forward on a consistent basis on set pieces tonight.
And that's something that just provides a different aspect of the game. It gives extreme width, especially on a big field like the one here. It just allows the field to become that much bigger because you're not narrow anymore. You're getting all the way wide.
Steele had gotten forward for Charlotte there. Brought down by Mizell. Man out of Clemson. Samuel under pressure. Davidson. Make it Ross.
I don't know why this foul took so long to call. Very poor touch by Ross. It goes behind him. You see he's trying to get a hold of the ball and isn't even going for the ball. He has a hold of Jones. So I don't know why that took so long to call.
There's not a lot of advantage to be played there when you're going away from goal.
Well, and when there's a player on your back, there's not really anywhere you can go.
Yellow card. That's deserved. Ross in his first professional season from Newcastle upon Tyne. Ross into the book, and a free kick for Bethlehem Steel. Headed right down to Mizell. Samuel was the player on the near post, and Siku Kone on the opposite post.
Hugh Roberts did a nice job getting up for that header to bring it back across, but there wasn't a player close enough. No one was there for the follow there.
Throw for Bethlehem. Trailing since the 33rd minute. Enzo Martinez, the go-ahead goal. Romero, turn it over, Alex Martinez. Dangerous. And now Herrera did not strike that the right way.
Just completely mishit, but it's good to see him get on the ball. We really haven't seen Jorge Herrera much in this game at all. And he's a player that, when we spoke with Mike Jeffries, said you see him turn his head, always looking around. He reads defenders and reads the game very well, which allows him to slip into spaces. That was a simple ball into him. You could see he wanted to curve it. He wanted to get his foot around that ball to try to go to that far post, just completely mishit it.
Smith. Martinez. Castillo. Ross. Foul there from Ross. Samuel tossed down by Donnie Smith. Just a talking to for Smith.
You don't see that often from James Chambers. You don't see him often miss-hit a ball going right to left. Because as a central midfielder, he's really good at moving his body and the texture of the ball that it has to be played with. But that was just completely a miss. And he had two options there. It almost looked like he may have been in between with decisions. But that's very uncommon for a player like James Chambers.
Bethlehem unable to make Charlotte pay for that. So they had given the ball right back. There's Martinez now. Martinez cutting inside on Chambers. Martinez continuing on, dishing it off. Castillo sending it back across for Herrera. Jones. Kalungi knocked it out.
Charlotte did a nice job responding to that defensively, putting the pressure on quickly when that ball didn't come across. Not allowing a simple ball out from Bethlehem, but Sekou Kone, fantastic job of coming off the center backs and that little touch to Jones there to try to build out. That's a really nice job, just to be aware that there's a center back on you. He needs to come off of him and find a little bit of space to try to gather that ball.
Back for Roberts, one of the relative veterans on the club. One of the three youngest teams in USL's Eastern Conference, with Toronto FC 2, the reigning champion New York Red Bulls 2. Samuel, run overlapping. Was away from Jones and able to keep the ball. Alex Martinez tripped him up. Advantage played. Stepping ahead, Mowar. Could not challenge Mizell. It flies outside of the post.
If you're Charlotte, you're not to allow Mowar space with his right foot. He's so good at going central or going to his left, touching it back to his right, and getting a quick shot off. He wants the ball on his right foot. He wants to shoot. He's done a great job of setting himself up. That's a beautiful opportunity there. Charlotte has to respond to that and cannot give him space, cannot give him his right foot.
Cody Mizell, one major save in that first half. Starting 21 games this year, only conceding the starting job once on the season. Substitution coming, described as a bullet off the bench for Bethlehem. Chris Nanko comes on, and Joseph Samuel comes off. At the hour mark, hey fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the United Soccer League. For more information, click on NikeSoccer.com. Roberts nods it down. Smith. Pocket of space opening up for Estrada. Square ball cut off on the way to Martinez. Out under the foot of Fontana.
Nanko was off to the races if that touch came off. He did a good job of keeping it in, though, and saving the play, but he was in behind that back line. The ball was going to be split.
Ball played wide, entering the box, shot ripped in. It's a heavy rebound from Mizell, kicked out by Duckett.
Once again, Mowar gets the ball in his right foot from the left side, dribbles central, and gets a beautiful look on frame. He's done this 4 times. Charlotte needs to respond, force him wide, force him to his left, because he's so good when the ball's on his right foot.
Molar, a constant danger tonight for Bethlehem. It's Aaron Jones. Bounces out. Jones will get a second look at it, getting it from Molar. Headed down, skips in the box, and Smith kicks it out. Try corner from the opposite side.
I really like that ball in from Jones. The way it bent away from Mizell, the way it bent away from that back line. Trusty did a really nice job of just heading it down, because if you head it down, you give your team a chance to get a foot on it. You get a chance for a deflection. He did a really nice job of bringing that ball down.
Short corner, Fontana. Fontana! It's a good save by Mizell. Still danger. Well struck by the 17-year-old. Something more could be on here. Jones. Derek Jones being pushed toward the touchline. Turns on Davidson. They've expertly avoided the trap of Bethlehem in the corner. And there's the foul. Great save by Mizell, and this is a good effort by Fontana.
That ball was whizzing. The way it came off Fontana's foot, no pressure. He's able to take a touch. The way it bends, it starts to go central, then moves its way left. Mizell did a really nice job of focusing on that, because those are tough, especially when it's coming from the middle of the field. But the ball's hit like that, it's hard to see where it's going.
Herrera back to his feet after this challenge.
And Charlotte, this is them showing how good they are building up out of the back. Aaron Jones, that's one where you either have to get man or have to get ball. It can't go past you. He made the right decision there. He wasn't going to win the ball, so he had to bring down Herrera to give his team a chance to drop back and reset.
And nothing malicious there.
It probably looked worse than he wanted it to, just with the way Herrera was coming in. But definitely a professional foul, just trying to stop that play from building up.
Manco got past Fontana. Bethlehem in search of an equalizer. They've been down for half an hour of game time now. Raymond picks it up. He'll have to wait. Joel Johnson will come on. With some visa issues on his way back into the country after that trip to Canada. David Estrada is done for the night. Mexican comes off, the Spaniard comes on. Johnson right off the bench, pressuring the ball for Charlotte, 22 in blue. Romero. The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talents and rising stars. Stay up to date, all the latest league news and information by visiting USLsoccer.com. Follow on Twitter @USL. Turning inside again. Bethlehem from that left wing. Jones, Fontana. Good step by Duckett. Mawar, Chambers, Nanko, Jones, it's Nanko again. That's an excellent ball across and clipped right to the goalkeeper, Mizell.
That's a really nice ball from Nanko. The way it splits the defenders, he had to play it in the air to get it there. So the only thing difficult there is deciding whether to hit it one touch like was done, like what we just saw that was done, or maybe bringing it down really quickly and trying to play from there. That's the only thing difficult about it, but he had to hit it in the air in order to split the defenders.
Mizell under pressure, completing to Castillo. Usually we see Johnson at the outside back position, but a little more advanced tonight.
And I was interested to see when he came on if he switched with Castillo maybe, but it looks like he's playing in that midfield position, which adds a little bit of more defensive presence. I don't think Mike Jeffries made that decision trying to bring in a defender and lock down the midfield for the rest of the game, but I do think by adding that substitution, there's a little more defensive presence, which is good on that right side, because off Bethlehem's left side, Santi Mawar has had so much success with the ball at his feet and bringing the ball central. So adding a player like Johnson, who probably will defend a little more just because that's the type of player he is, will help fill that space.
And Mawar dishes out as Johnson was charging up toward him. Fontana. Aaron Jones again. Diving header out of harm's way. Jones there again to recollect. Chambers. Kone. Chambers on the ground. There goes Smith. Herrera. Substitute coming. Jan Akra will come on. Callum Ross retreats to the bench. Foul from Joel Johnson.
I don't think any harm was meant there. Johnson definitely clips a little bit with the way he went down for that tackle. But he did a nice job pressuring, because otherwise, allowing a player like that space, he can just play wherever he wants. But by Johnson stepping, he tried to force to make a play, but obviously ended up clipping him a little bit.
Ball for Kone. Cut out by Kalungi. Martinez. That's a great ball to play up the right side. Johnson. Johnson faking. Now he shoots. It was blocked down. Herrera was there as well. Now the race is on. Frost and Trusty. The Steel side. Two center backs continuing toward the corner. Collision here.
That's a hard tackle on both sides. Kalungi Duckett going in for that one. Excuse me. Duckett and Trusty going in hard for that. You don't often see two center backs chasing down a ball going against one another. They tend to have the same outlook on how to go in for a tackle like that. They just don't normally go against somebody who's thinking the same thing as them.
It's almost like a dance or something like that, where you've got two sides to it.
Sure.
There's the person who receives, the person who gives a challenge like that. And
Okay,
it just seems like they both went in the wrong
They were both
as
giving.
center backs, right?
Yeah, they were both trying to lead the dance.
That's right, exactly. He was holding that arm on a previous challenge
Earlier in the game. That's when you really hope Duckett's okay. He's a big part of this team. Very strong center back for Charlotte. But just like you said, two players who tackle hard going in for a hard tackle.
It's Johnson again. Johnson near the byline. Enzo Martinez slid in. Out for a corner.
Enzo Martinez is so good in that moment because when the ball goes wide, the touch is taken at a diagonal towards where the box and the end line are. So it's a diagonal touch. Rather than just continuing his run forward, Martinez comes a little central, then pops back out to his right to get space from the defender. A great step forward from Johnson. He's a player that's able to attack that space. You see Martinez start central, then he pops a little to his right just to create that separation so he can get the ball at his feet. A nice defensive job, though, done by Bethlehem.
Short corner for the Independents. Smith continuing on. Challenge in the box. No whistle, continues on. Johnson. Now Bethlehem wants to counter. Well done by Davidson to be in the right position, knowing that there's only one center back in the game right now due to that injury. How did this happen? Martinez. It's a good save by Romero. Romero will dive back down. It was touched back by the defender, Hugh Roberts. Merely a deflection. And Smith goes in hard and picks up a yellow card.
Donnie Smith was waiting for that one. He was the player taken down in the box by James Chambers. Extremely frustrated with that. You could see tempers flaring a little bit on both sides. Smith doesn't even go for the ball. He gets ankled, doesn't even try to get the ball. The angle he's running at, he has no way of getting to the ball.
Luke Wechter has come on. Bilal Duckett, who was injured previously, is done for the night. So all thoughts with the captain for this Charlotte side. Hope for a quick recovery. And we talked about needing that surplus of center backs, and now Luke Wechter is a rookie who was really key to their early season success, is put back on the spot.
When we spoke with Mike Jeffries, it's hard to break into that back line in the center back area, and you never wish an injury, but sometimes that's how a player can get an opportunity. Wechter, a player who balances very well. He has a great left foot, good vision, so we hope Duckett's okay. You never want to see that, but on the other side of it, it is an opportunity for Wechter now to step in and fill a big void.
Wechter, who himself was injured for 2 months, a knee injury against FC Cincinnati in June. So now he's back after starting the last game, needed as a substitute. Defense there by Ekra. Bethlehem over 500 on the road. Very rare sight when you look at the USL standings, the ability to pick up points away from home. Trying to draw a level. Jones. Wechter off the bench. Did well to win that. Martinez, Akra, now the brakes on. Joel Johnson on rushing up the right side. Smith up the left. There's Donnie Smith. Romero there to make the save. Comes out for a corner. The local kid nearly got his first tally for the Independents.
Tomas Romero has been incredible for Bethlehem tonight. Jan Ecker does a great job dribbling central, pulling a defender to allow Smith that space in behind. Romero just does a good job of coming out and cutting down the angle.
As a former fullback, it must warm your heart seeing two primary fullbacks driving up the field as the only offensive options there, right?
Mike, you know that's just one of my favorite things.
It's just, I don't see it often enough. Fullbacks need to get up more.
Well, and you see the pace he gets forward with because he doesn't get up that often. So if he has an opportunity, if there's space and no defender there, of course he's going to work his butt off to try to get there and make something from it.
On the ensuing corner, Enzo Martinez lets it rip across the face of goal. Accra. Johnson. Accra again. Excellent orchestrating that last breakout. Alex Martinez, Jorge Herrera. Herrera tussled away from the ball, and Herrera is the one who commits the foul.
And I think that's a bit of a precautionary call from the referee, knowing how quickly this game can get out of hand and seeing how there has been a little bit of tempers in between the two, knowing that there's not much time left. Bethlehem's going to be pushing. Charlotte is a team that wants to add another, so I think that's just kind of to set a tone.
Enzo Martinez driving in, turned away. It's Fontana. Nanko met by Accra. Jones. Bethlehem trailing back to the 33rd minute. Need to pull level here. Crossfield pass. Castillo steers it to Johnson. Herrera ran into Jones. Looks a bit worse for the wear. Ricochets off of Davidson. Outside by Mawar. Nanko. Off of Castillo. It's Jones over Mizell.
You can see the pace he hit that with the people in the background trying to pop out of the way after it's way far over the goal. Jones just trying to take it upon himself. He has the space to do so. They're chasing a goal. He didn't really see many options. I think he probably could have kept it and built out, but decided to take it and had a pretty good look on frame, especially being straight on from the goal.
Fans, stay up to date. The latest USL news and information from around the league is on USL Coast to Coast. SiriusXM Channel 85, Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. SiriusXM FC airs the USL Game of the Week. Check USLsoccer.com for the dates and times, including Friday night, Orange County and Phoenix Rising coming your way on ESPN3. Hurd. Roberts retreats back. It's Romero. Romero rolls it out. Here's Romero again. There's Romero, who I'd be remiss not to say was born in the year 2000. This is a very young Bethlehem team. Jones. Nanko. Fontana. Castillo. Johnson. For Charlotte. Herring midfield. Martinez. Off of Trusty. Martinez getting a touch. Johnson, Martinez trying to go through the legs of Raymond. It's Jones touching wide for Bethlehem. We've seen this all night. Chambers, it's another excellent save by Mizell. Standing on his head for Charlotte as he continues to search for another shutout for this Independent side.
Mizell continues to come up big. James Chambers, we've seen him hit this before. First time, the ball coming across, he gets a beautiful strike on frame. But Cody Mizell is able to see through the traffic, see the way the ball's spinning, and get a touch on that.
On the restart comes to Mizell. One omniscient analyst earlier in this game suggested that just because Chambers was off target twice didn't mean he'd be off target a third time, and that was on frame.
I know.
It's just a shrug of the shoulders.
Right? No, Chambers is a player that strikes a very good ball, obviously.
Herrera providing company to Romero.
But Chambers also puts himself in really good positions to be able to hit a really nice ball. So he moves off the ball. It was a really nice job on the outside to bring the ball central once again. And then he just positions his body so he can hit that first time. That is so hard. If you're not a top-class player, that's one of those where you try to hit it and it goes off to your right because you don't get good contact on it.
Johnson, Enzo Martinez, his 13th goal of the year earlier tonight. Enzo Martinez will drop it back. Johnson too far for Enzo Martinez. And Romero gets a goal kick. Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the United Soccer League. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Couple great saves tonight from Cody Mizell. A great goal by Enzo Martinez, and Charlotte hanging on narrowly to this 1-0 lead. Service toward Nanko. Kicked away. Going down immediately, a lot of pain there. Hurd back to his feet.
Ekra just completely takes Hurd out there. He almost looks like he goes in with 2 feet. I don't know if he slipped, but that was a very dangerous tackle.
Ekra looks like he's taking the brunt of that as well. Mike Jeffries, 3rd year at the helm, trying to guide this group. Man who typically takes the corners in the set pieces is Aaron Jones. This is an area where surely he'll go for goal. Jones has scored twice this year, both on direct free kicks. Jones, not that time. Mizell pulling himself out of the net, did not need to make the stop.
With Jones on the ball here, you know he's gonna try to hit it. He tries to go around the wall to the right, just gets under it a little bit too much, pops it over the goal. But I have to say, Mizell didn't have to make a save there, but for a game with a lot of offensive firepower, I think the goalkeepers have stolen the show. They have been fantastic tonight. just the way that they have come up big for their team, both sides.
As that a previous foul there. 86 minutes gone. Aronson, the man who came on. Heard with a complaint there. Anthony Fontana, the player who came off there a moment ago.
A little bump from Alex Martinez just in behind, but I know Fontana just went off the field. He was great tonight for Bethlehem. He filled a role that he needed to, followed the game plan, and he was great.
Headed down, Wechter snapping it back out. And Kalungi, maybe not even just completing the clearance as much as setting off the break for Charlotte. Martinez has found Herrera. Hops away from the defender. Chambers looking for a handball.
Mike, we spoke with Mike Jeffries about Enzo Martinez, Jorge Herrera, how they're similar in their ability to change a game, but they're different players. And he just spoke about how good they are and how they play off one another. One player makes a certain run, the other peels out the other way. That's a perfect example. Alex Martinez has the ball at his feet. You see Enzo come around with the run to the left, which draws defenders because you have to be aware of where Enzo Martinez is. Jorge Herrera is in the gap on the right, and it just opens a little bit of space for him and allows him to gather that ball at his feet.
And for all that Enzo Martinez does to score, even if you do allow him to get the ball, you can't simply follow him because he's tied for the team lead in assists. As that ball winds in from Hurd, it comes back out the same way.
And that's one of the things that's so dangerous, is it's almost pick your poison, and both players are doing what they can to set up the other. So really, as a defender, if you choose to go to one, there's really no good option on who you shut down because the other who's open is going to be just a great option as well.
It's a corner. Mawar over the back. Hey fans, the United Soccer League is one of the most prominent second division pro leagues on planet Earth. Featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date. All the latest league news and information by visiting uslsoccer.com and give them a follow on Twitter at USL. All got over Herrera. Self-committed a foul in his effort. Should Charlotte come and get a 3-point performance against this Bethlehem side? It was a 4-0 game last time these teams met. Charlotte, a big winner. We knew this was going to be a tougher game. Indeed, Bethlehem has given that. This could be a big return off that 12-game unbeaten streak just snapped last time out for Charlotte. Pick up 3 important points and pull further away from Louisville City.
And it's not over. There's still a lot of time, but Bethlehem has shown that they had a game plan and they followed it. It came down to one poor clearance, a couple of poor clearances in one play, but they followed their game plan.
Herrera, Enzo Martinez tried to play it back. We just spoke about it. Just because you've closed him down doesn't mean there isn't another run coming.
And it's one of those things you know, but it's still difficult to stop because of the movement. You don't know exactly where they're going to run. You know Martinez, Herrera will move off one another and will both be in dangerous spots, but you can't read exactly where they're going to go, so it's still difficult.
4 minutes of extra time. Plenty of time. Bethlehem did score in stoppage time by way of Nanko in their most recent game. It made it 3-1 in their favor. Martinez, Acra, Castillo. Alex Martinez, a bit more space this time. Martinez, trusty, got his leg in. Martinez back to his feet. Goal kick for Bethlehem.
I'm always a little surprised at teams that are chasing the game and still trying to play. I'm a believer that if you're down a goal, it's not pretty soccer. When you get to the last 2-3 minutes, it's direct, it's ugly at times, you throw numbers forward, and I'm always surprised at teams that tend to take their time putting a ball back in play or choose to play short and then try to kick a ball forward. When there's not a lot of time left, you just have to go.
It didn't work for the first 91.5 minutes, so eventually it's time for the kitchen sink. They had a contact there, Kalungi.
And that's a little better, sending a center back forward, getting Hugh Roberts up the field, just sending numbers forward. That's what has to happen, a direct ball like that, which, okay, it ran out of bounds, and now Charlotte can waste time. But the ball's going to have to come back in, and now the goal is win this goal kick. We win the goal kick, and we go forward. And it's probably not the prettiest, but we're going to put numbers forward, and we're going to put the ball in a position that's dangerous.
Meanwhile, this goalkeeper can certainly take his time. Bethlehem's 2-game win streak hanging in the balance. For Charlotte, 12 games unbeaten. Go from 14th to 1st in the East. Came to an end in their most recent game. They could start this 4-game homestand with a win. They finish out the final minute here. Back by Nanko. It's Chambers. Paul Karam's out. Deflected straight back out. And now it's Herrera. Numbers were forward for Bethlehem. Herrera across Enzo Martinez, looking for another. Romero again. Another save against one of the great attacking threats in the USL.
Tomas Romero has been tested time after time. He's come up big. Another huge save. Enzo Martinez gets in behind from a ball by Herrera, goes to that far post. Romero's able to stop it. He's done a great job tonight for Bethlehem. He's come up huge multiple times.
Put back in play. No hurry at all from the Independents. Just one goal tonight. They lead the Eastern Conference in scoring. Their 44th goal, the 13th for Enzo Martinez. Appears to be the difference tonight. Full time, Charlotte, a 1-0 win. Are now 5 points clear of Louisville City atop the Eastern Conference, knocking off Bethlehem Steel, golden ill tonight.
Bethlehem made Charlotte work for that win. After coming off the 4-0 loss in the last meeting, Bethlehem knew their game plan. They followed it, had trouble clearing, which led to the Charlotte goal, but besides that, they followed it. They were strong tonight. That's a positive to take away from this and go to the next game.
The militia pleased with the effort. It's a 1-0 win for Charlotte. We'll wrap it up when we return here on ESPN3.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Well, hey, if you take shots, what the heck? No. Full time from the Sportsplex. It's a 1-0 win for Charlotte. They are now unbeaten in 13 of their last 14. Coming off a loss, they get the result they were looking for, knocking off Bethlehem Steel, whose position at the bottom of the playoff picture is a bit more tenuous after this defeat tonight. Mike Watts, Morgan Conklin back with you. Here are your full-time highlights as we look back from the very beginning. And this is a game where Bethlehem did what they wanted to do, in truth.
Absolutely. They knew what they needed to do. One of the players who was extremely dangerous, Santi Mowar, throughout the whole game, getting the ball up the left side, cutting it to his right. James Chambers, he found the ball there a couple times and was able to get a look on frame.
He was looking for his 6th goal of the season, wouldn't find it, but came close. Smith here getting it across, ricochets down. Enzo Martinez won't miss from there.
Well, and that far post was really dangerous from Charlotte tonight. Martinez was able to capitalize. A nice ball in from Smith all the way across Herrera, goes up for the header, gets a little flick. It may have been a deflection from a defender. Martinez able to just get a touch, gather it, and find that far post.
33rd minute, goal number 13 of the year. He's among the top 5 in the United Soccer League. Opportunities continue. This Smith almost got his first goal in a Charlotte uniform.
And Donnie Smith was really good getting into the attack, both crossing but also finding his way, just able to get that ball gathered. It wasn't cleared, but once again finds his way to the corner, was really dangerous with his left-footed service. That same back post ball, this time Alex Martinez. But the runners weren't tracked on the far post. It ended in 1 goal. Bethlehem was lucky a couple times, but that back post was open.
On to the second half of play. Mowar here flies it just wide. A couple long-range efforts from Bethlehem.
With the ball on his right foot, Mowar was very dangerous tonight. Just went wide, but that was a good look for him.
And Fontana.
Mizell coming up big with that one. That's a difficult ball to stop. The traffic in front of you, the pace he hit it with, that was a good look for Fontana.
The fullbacks are getting forward. Morgan Smith again can't convert.
I love it, but what I love even more is that save from Romero. It's difficult. Smith is coming forward with pace. Romero does a really nice job jumping off his line. He's quick to get off and shut down the angle.
Now we'll see Chambers uncork.
And I said it earlier, had that chance a couple times right around there at the top of the box, and he gets a good connection with the ball.
Herrera finding Martinez, looking for a second, and Romero had a couple good saves tonight himself.
More than a couple. Romero came up really big. It's difficult to stop, especially with that really short windup from Martinez.
There was your winning coach, Mike Jeffrey's side, a 1-0 winner. Here are the full-time stats. The shots and shots on target were identical through the first half. Bethlehem outshoots Charlotte, but it's the goalkeepers who stood on their head, and that 1 goal from Enzo is the difference.
And in the second half, Bethlehem outpossessed Charlotte 60-40. For a team that struggled more so in the first half, they came out in the second, were difficult to break down, were really good when they had the ball. They moved it around. It's difficult to be happy walking away with the loss. They won't be happy from this, but there's a lot of positives to take away from it. Following their game plan, able to outpossess the Charlotte team, and they had a lot of chances, 17-7 on frame.
Morgan, this was so much fun. Let's just do it again on Friday, right? That's a good matchup.
Not bad, I'll be here.
Orange County opening up their new stadium at Orange County Great Park against Phoenix Rising. Sean Wright-Phillips and Didier Drogba will be on hand for that one. Should be a fun one for you on Friday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Charlotte, a 1-0 winner here. Enzo Martinez, the game winner, as Charlotte continues their rise all the way to the top of the Eastern Conference. Mizell and Romero, tremendous all night long. It's that 1 goal from the MVP candidate that proves the difference. For producer Ava Ponte, director Eddie Suarez, Jonathan Telliger, editorial consultant Mindy Conklin, and Morgan Conklin, Mike Watts saying so long. Charlotte, a winner. Have a good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.